Oh, the things those Roomba vacuum cleaners have to clean up. This is the focus group.
Listen, laugh, and learn.
You have to drill that target audience.
It's the Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash.
Until they are consuming your product, not because they love it, but because they can't escape.
We're all business.
Drill, baby, no more pussyfooting around.
Except when we're not.
Oh, drill, baby, drill. Hand selected.
It just makes me laugh.
It makes me laugh all the time, too. Hey, welcome to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host, Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is our website, and that's where you'll find all our media, including our Tuesday podcast, Unbuttoned. And if you haven't started listening to that, we urge you to do so. 20 minutes long, audio only. And there you have it. So here we are in the slide into the holidays, and regardless of all the stuff we see on TV, there's still aspects of Thanksgiving that we enjoy, and one of them for me is, of course, desserts. And I do like turkey, actually. I don't mind having turkey. Did you ever buy into that whole L-tryptophan thing? You know how after you the thing that makes you sleepy, that's the one of the enzymes in turkey or something?
Yeah, after the big meal, everyone seems to fall asleep. Now, whether it's the big meal and the wine or it's the big meal, I wondered about that because when people would eat a big lunch at work, I guess you wouldn't get much done in the afternoon. I don't know.
Recently I was having a hilarious memory lane conversation with a friend of mine who was reminding us both of what lunches used to be like back in the day. And I'm talking about, late 80s, early 90s, and you would actually have cocktails at lunch. You could come, right? I mean, you went out and you would have.
Oh, it was more than not, right? That's what you did.
So Turkey Day's approaching.
I had a boss that used to get drunk. He used to he would get shit-faced at lunch. This was when I was at the steel company. This guy's long dead.
Okay.
He was a 3-packer a day plus his martinis. And he would encourage it. We would go out to his private club. We'd go to the Vesper Club here in Philly, and he would have his 2 martinis and a half a sandwich. And he'd get all red in the face. He'd be loaded in the afternoon. He was useless. But everybody knew in the office, that's when you asked to get things done. Yeah, whatever you want.
Can I have 2 days off?
Tomorrow?
Sure
Enjoy
thing.
and have a great time. But of course he forgot. He was like Ted Kennedy. He'd forget the next day what he promised and what he said. But you caught him after the martini lunch, and everything was all good.
I probably have told this a number of times on the show before, but when I used to work at that magazine Avenue, and I had a little office, I was head of typography. So that was, folks, that was back when you had typesetting different from layout, and I used to work with the art director, and I visited my friend Tom Wharton, who was the art director of Cambridge University Press at the time, literally was down the block from me on 57th Street. And our offices were in the Hammacher Schlemmer building, which is, I guess, like a Sharper Image kind of company, all these gadgets and stuff.
I used to love that place.
So there was a British pub. I mean, they had all Brit flags and everything, and we would meet there for like shepherd's pie or something. But this is one of those days where it started out with a martini, and then it went to 2. And then the shepherd's pie comes, and we're barely eating it. But Tom's like, I think we need a third. And when you're in the middle of that, you're laughing, you're telling stories. Hour and 15 minute. Imagine consuming that, an hour and 15 minutes. I go back up to the office, and remember those while you were out slips, the pink things? So Madeline, the receptionist, slides them to me, and she holds on to them, and I'm like trying to pull them out of her hand, and she goes, I think you need to go into your office for a while and close the door. And later on, she said you could just could smell the booze coming off. So
I had a trainee when I worked at the same company, and it was his first probably month on the job, and I sent him down with the Pitney Bowes stamp machine. You had to go get postage on the machine, and so you had to go to the post office. And it was
that
St.
like a
Patrick's
module
Day.
You would carry with you, right? It was like
Right.
a thing that plugged in. That's and they would load it up.
Heavy metal machine, and he went down, load it up, get $100 worth of postage. So, and we send him down about 9 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock comes, we still can't find him. He finally rolls in at about 1:30 with the postage machine, not loaded, by the way. He forgot to get it loaded, with a green, one of those plastic green derby caps on it. It was St. Patrick's Day. He stopped off at the pub downstairs, and it was another one of those. We'll see you tomorrow.
But see, it was treated differently. It wasn't like you were some pariah. It was like, you go home. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, this is what people did.
Yeah.
So
Too bad.
over the weekend, Bob's sister was in town to pick up our niece from Skidmore. She's successfully finished her first semester. She enjoyed school, even though it's very changed freshman year than from what we had. And we were sitting around. We have this fire pit, which I think, do you have a fire pit yet?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is a great invention. I don't know why we didn't buy one before, because we have lots of wood this year.
It's been around since fire, John.
Yeah, and I'm only now getting the memo, which is
It's great
so
invention.
so typical. What a great invention! Was this like last
Hey,
year?
have you heard of Coldplay?
That's
Still
yeah.
my favorite. Anyway.
That was after the awards one year. I'm like, hey, I found this band called Coldplay, and my assistant's like, Robin. She's like, the one that won the Grammy last night for best album. I'm like, oh yeah, people heard about them then, huh? So we sit around the fire pit, and Sue says to me, hey, we watch your show, and she was complimenting your voice, by the way. She said Tim has a very, soothing, silky voice.
Well, that's the first one that said that, so I'll have to get in touch with her.
Send her a pair of focus group socks. But she was saying, she goes, behind you can see your bed in the. I said, yes, because I'm doing it in this room, which is where I have an office space, but it's bedroom behind us. I said, the bed's always made. She goes, yeah, I was just wondering about it. I said, oh, trust me. I said, our audience has figured this out. I said, I've gotten letters from folks asking me what the model on the shelf behind me. They know it's the Enterprise, but they don't know which version it is. Some people get it, and some people get socks for that. Then there's that original Star Wars poster over my other shoulder from guess where that one's from? Naugatuck Valley Mall.
Oh, boy.
Can you believe that? Remember we used to go see films there?
I can't believe it's lasted this long, unless you got it framed right away.
It's special. It's linen backed. They did some preservation work on it, and it's framed. But that was in this theater I saw the movie at originally, and given to me by the manager when they were taking it down months and months after the run. So if you see anything else you want to know about, I mean, that's pretty much the two big focal points, or three: ship, bed,
Well, you
poster.
can't blur your background. So John is the master controller here, and he produces the show and does all the tech stuff. And so on the way the system is set up, I could blur my background.
Because you're coming in from Skype. Yeah.
Right, but you can't. So
I
that's
could put
why.
a green screen behind me, and then we could be anywhere in the world. Yeah. There's
do you
little,
wanna go
I
through
like
all
the
that?
personality of the stuff behind there. So
I'm just hoping everybody that I've talked to just wants to find Bob lying there one day taking a nap, as if that would happen. But it would make for ratings, which we could
just see a
desperately use.
pair of legs, and then they'd want to see more. That's the way it goes. All right, so let's move on and say what caught your eye.
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
So what caught my eye this week was very much the 12-year-old boy in me. So it's not necessarily a story other than our friend Matt, who we all know, John.
I love Matt.
The artist Matt. He had posted on his Facebook page this picture of a Roomba. Everybody knows those little mechanical vacuums that have the little space. And then you set them up for a certain time, and they go and they clean your house, and you do it while you're away, or you do it late at night, or whenever you want the Roomba to do a little touch-up. And so he had posted this picture, and I was like, what the heck is this? And then I thought about it. And so it's, this guy has a puppy, and the puppy pooped, and then the Roomba came to do its cleaning and drag the poop all over the house. So
by the way,
this
if
this
you're
can't be
watching, if
real.
you're not watching, Tim sent two photos. One of them has a picture of the Roomba turned upside down on the left with the little brushes and stuff, and it is just clogged with poo. So I'm sorry, continue.
No. So I thought there's no way this could be real. So I look at it, and then all you have to do is go to any search engine, type in Roomba and dog poop, and there are thousands of images. There's blogs. There's people they have humiliated the dog. The dog's sitting there with it says, I pooped and Roomba moved it around the house or whatever. People come home from a day's work and find the house poop all around, spread around that the Roomba got involved in. It's even picked up dirty clothes. I mean, then everybody does the Roomba stories. So if you just Google, as I said, or don't have to Google, but go to any search engine and just do Roomba and dog poop or poop, because the cats are cleaner than dogs. But there's the one picture there, the dog is looking at it. There's actually one with a chihuahua sitting on it and the thing's going around the room. But I just thought, can you imagine coming home? You had a long day. Oh, the room has done a little touch up, dusted the floor, and you come home and find this. The 12-year-old boy in me just I just thought it was
Well,
hilarious.
you know, the 12-year-old boy in you, yes, but also the adult in you, this is the unintended consequences of something that's meant to make your life a breeze. Like the little vacuum's going to just, all the dust is going to be gone forever. The two pictures you sent, along with the one where the thing's upside down, like
Yeah.
the one on the right, there's a picture that Tim sent of a big poop streak running across a hardwood floor. I'm looking at it thinking, oh my Lord. Okay, so here's how this has to go down. All the furniture has to be moved. You have to get a bucket and water. Right, you have to, the Roomba's not, then you have to clean the Roomba. Let's go back to that picture for a minute because
So the Roomba really does clean the house because then you have to clean up after the
And
Roomba. This mess here in the kitchen, I love.
that one in the corner. And but the upside down mechanism, like think about this for a minute. Like I don't even know if they're made for this. They're not waterproof, right? They can't. You have to like disassemble it. Maybe it's fried. Is it fried at that point? Is it a lost cause at that point?
I wouldn't want to clean that. Would you? Look at it. Ugh. My niece has one of these, and she loves it.
But does she have
Brian has
pets?
one, and all these people I know that have them. But I never even thought of this because they said, "Oh no, it's very smart. It knows what it does. It knows where to go. Knows what to do." But all you have to do
very
is,
smart.
as I said, search this. And there was one that had picked up some guy's dirty underwear and laundry, was dragging it around the house. So anyway, that's what caught my eye.
You know, that's the whole thing about Caught My Eye. It's always a surprise what catches our eyes. And when you sent the pictures in, I just thought, oh my Lord, this is. Now, mine could not be. Mine's like a 180. It's polar
Oh, there you
opposite.
go.
It's very John. I mean, you'll know what I'm. And it's science based, and it's sort of fascinating. So, mine is the following. The headline read, "A Mount Rainier hiker was essentially dead," in quotes, for 45 minutes until a team of Seattle doctors revived his heart. Now, this kind of blows my
I
mind.
heard about this.
So,
I didn't read the story, but I did hear about this.
Michael Napinski, 45, was put on life support after arriving at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. But doctors were able to jumpstart his heart. He was hiking in the national park last week and got lost in below freezing conditions. Navy crews found him lifeless. But here's the thing: this quote that fascinated me was, he was unconscious, had extreme hypothermia. His heart stopped shortly after he arrived at the ER. So he had a very faint pulse when they found him, but he had been exposed. He had been like this for over 45 minutes. A team of doctors quickly decided he would be the perfect patient for the life support machine known as ECMO. This is sci-fi, extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. The specialized heart-lung bypass machine removes blood from the body and runs it through an oxygenator before pumping it back in. The treatment, which has been only around since 2013, does not guarantee recovery, but can sometimes be life-saving. So they ran him, they did this where they warmed his blood slowly, and that helped him warm his internal organs, and then they jump-started his heart. After 45 minutes, the ECMO machine had successfully gotten Napinski's blood flowing. The team then warmed his body back to a temperature that the heart could function at and shocked his heart one more time. 2 days later, Napinski opened his eyes for the first time. When I woke up, I just really didn't comprehend what had happened. I'm extremely grateful to everybody here at the hospital for not giving up on me. I'm alive and breathing. Now,
Wow.
for me, the thing that blew my mind away was he woke up and it was as if he had remembered everything up until the point where he had gotten lost and had gone into hypothermia on the mountain. So in other words, no brain damage. At least they didn't say that in the article. Isn't that amazing though? I mean,
Well, that's what I was shocked about because I thought after what was it, 20 minutes or maybe it's 2 minutes, I
oxygen to
forget
the
whatever
brain.
you had no oxygen to the brain that you'd have brain damage. So I'd heard about this and I didn't read the story as I said, so I'm glad you brought it forward. But I was wondering about it. The other thing I thought was interesting was how long they worked on him.
Yeah.
I thought in some cases it might be like, well, he's been up there 45 minutes, he's been unconscious. It's he's hypothermia. He's sadly to say he's passed, right?
Yeah, well,
But,
they apparently they detected the pulse on the mountain. They get him to the ER. By then, the heart stopped in the ER, but they're like, okay, we'll try this. And amazing that they would have that machine floating around.
Right.
I don't know that every hospital has that, but yeah, this to me is the marvel of science, and it also speaks to a whole bunch of stuff. If you're a sci-fi fan, for example, like yours truly. You could almost see this scenario where we always hear these sci-fi stories about people being put in hibernation for long journeys. And this is exactly where the science comes from, how to deep freeze the body without damaging the brain.
Well, I saw something last night. Was it last night or might have been over the weekend, 3, 4 days ago. So they said a baby that's born today. How long do you think that average
Oh,
lifespan
this
would
was
be?
on the news. Someone born today will probably live to 104 or 110. Was it something like that?
It was 103,
103 or
104
104.
average.
Okay.
Right now it's for men 79 or something, and women 84, something like that. But can you imagine?
Yeah, we
I
heard it
guess
on
I guess that's science.
when we heard it on the news. Bob just looked at me. He goes, "I don't know if I want to be around 100." And that's a whole conversation about functionality, about sensibilities, maintaining your alert status. There's a whole thing about aging, but sliding into 103 if you had the body of a 50-year-old, that might not be bad, right?
No, no. If you still can get around and do things, yeah. But if you're gonna, I mean, I can't. I've lost a set of keys I can't find. I there's keys to my parents' house and a friend of mine's house, and I found them. I thought, oh my God, here they are. I was so excited. Let me put them somewhere where I know I won't lose them, and I can't find them. I've looked for them everywhere, and I'm starting to panic. Not that anyone's going to steal. I just don't know where I put them. I guess I'll
Keys.
find them eventually.
Is there a little drawer or something that you?
I've looked. I've looked. What is it they always say, the Catholics, you folks with Saint Andrew or Saint somebody finds things. Saint Christopher. Who is it when you lose something?
I don't know, but St. Christopher's for travels, I think. And I love the way you folks. And so I'm Catholic,
Well,
and
you're a
you're
Catholic. I'm Protestant. We don't have idols.
you folks. You got the relics and the guy with the dress in Rome and the little
There's
slippers.
somebody, but it's funny because I've said that a couple times. Whatever this saint's name is, and I can't believe it escaped me. I should probably look it up. But I would say it, Anthony, maybe whoever it was. I would say it, and sure enough, the thing would arrive. I'd say, "Oh, there it is." I looked there 10 times. It wasn't there.
You
Now
know
it's
what? You
there.
got to look it up and then say it. Walk around the house and say it, and you'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, well, maybe while I do the business birthday, you can like, it's the saint for finding things.
Listen, I'll look it up for you here. And by
Because
the
our
way,
listeners are probably screaming now
at whatever device they're
you
listening on.
idiot, you idiot, it's so and so.
All right.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So today's birthday is kind of the granddaddy or the great granddaddy of all business birthdays. It's Andrew Carnegie, or Carnegie, as some people say. He was born November 25th, 1835, and he died in 1919 at 83 years old. He was a Scottish industrialist and philanthropist. He led the expansion of the American steel industry in the late 19th century and became one of the richest Americans in history. He was a leading philanthropist in the U.S. as well as in the British Empire. During the last 18 years of his life, he gave away $350 million, which in today's dollars is the equivalent to about $5.4 billion, which is remarkable. And he gave away 90% of his fortune. So he made it all within steel. And he felt that anybody who had this great wealth, he had something he put together in 1889 in an article proclaiming the gospel of wealth. He said that anybody this rich should use their wealth to improve society, and it stimulated a wave of philanthropy, similar to what Gates is doing now with Buffett and those folks saying, let's give away, 95% of our wealth for the good of the world. So he came to the U.S. when he was 12 years old. He worked in a number of different jobs, and eventually he built Pittsburgh's Carnegie Steel Company, which later he sold to J.P. Morgan. Get this, in 1901, he sold this steel company for $304 million.
And in today's dollars, that would be billions of dollars, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it became what we all know as the U.S. Steel Corporation. And when he did sell that, when Carnegie sold that, he surpassed John D. Rockefeller as the richest American for several years. But there's so many libraries in Carnegie Hall in New York and endowments and universities both here and in Scotland and in the UK, where if you see the name Carnegie Mellon University, for instance, or museums all around the country, I think his biggest legacy, obviously, is his philanthropy. So there's books and volumes written about this guy. So I would do it no justice trying to encapsulate it in 45 seconds. But Andrew Carnegie is our business birthday.
Do you remember did you remember learning about the Gospel of Wealth in either high school or college?
I don't remember learning about it, but I remembered a quote that kind of stuck with me that he had said, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but it was essentially that he was astonished to find out that the people who worked were not the ones who made the money.
Yeah, that is actually attributed to him, and it's not exactly worded that way, but yeah, those that labor the hard, like there's something about those that labor the hardest are not the ones that benefit the most, or
Yeah, there was something to that regard that I thought. I remember that sticking with me. Read it in some history book somewhere, but and that it was about somebody who was using. They always tell you use other people's money to make money, right?
well,
And
that's the rule in Hollywood.
yeah,
Don't use your own money to make that movie. Use somebody else's.
yeah.
Having been born and raised a little bit in Pittsburgh, but all my family, a lot of my relations are back there. Andrew Carnegie's all over Pittsburgh because that was steel town, right? So, pretty amazing guy and pretty amazing business birthday. I put in the caption for his picture when it was up on the video, "The richest man in the world," because I do believe that in real dollars, in today's dollars, had we looked at his fortune and moved it up to 2020, he would in fact be one of the richest people on the planet.
Yeah, easily. Well, US Steel was such a
oh my god,
such a huge influence on the world in terms of building the world in the Industrial Revolution, right?
Well, and for Carnegie and all those guys back then, railroads. Those the rails were built on steel, right? And the expansion west, and it's just an amazing. And this is all before income tax, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. This is the Gilded Age, where Andrew Carnegie had to write a book about the gospel of wealth because he had to convince other people that had money that it was in fact their duty to give back. But that all changed with the incoming income tax and all that stuff, all that good stuff. That's good business birthday. All right, as many of you know,
go ahead. Before you do that, though, I did Google. So it is St. Anthony.
So now you have to walk around the house saying St. Anthony?
So I'm going to ask St. Anthony where these keys are, and I'll let you know if I find them. I'll post it to our Facebook page, which is Focus Group Radio. If I find the keys of St. Anthony, help me.
You have no suspicions. You have no suspicion as to where you... Because remember, there's one key thing you said. I think I'll put these here because they'll be safe. You have to I found
them because it was and it'll sound crass maybe, but it was on a Tiffany keychain, so I know we didn't throw them away. And I found them, and I was so excited when I found them. I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've been looking for these forever. Let me put them here. That way I'll know right where they are." I can't find them.
I've done this, by the way, and I have a superb memory. I have done this. I've put things in places where I'm like, I will never forget it, and I've forgotten it. Like, for example, I thought I had my birth certificate somewhere I would always find it. I have to order a new one. I have no idea where it is.
Kidding me.
I can't. I've looked through folders, and and I'll open a manila folder. I'll be like, I know it's laying right down there, 3 papers down. Not there at all. I think it's just gone. I think you'll find your keys. We'll keep
Well,
saying.
I want you to ask St. Anthony where it is, John. So today, do you think it's where you are? Or do you think it's at the other house?
What, the keys?
Your birth certificate?
No, it's gone. I think it's
nowhere.
nowhere.
Do you think it's where you are currently, or do you think it's at your apartment?
No. If it's anywhere, it would be in the apartment. And
okay, so when you get back there, I want you to
Tim?
ask St. Anthony.
You know something? You just triggered something, and there's a little box I haven't checked. All right, maybe St. Anthony's. Enough of this.
St. Anthony, where it is when we get off.
St. Anthony.
You find that?
Anthony, where are the keys?
Anthony.
All right. As I was starting to say, Deep Discount is a partner of ours here on the Focus Group, and we'd like you to visit them and start shopping at their site by going to focusgroupradio.com and clicking on the Deep Discount logo, which is a shark called Sharky the Shark. And, of course, it is Black Friday sale coming up, and, of course, that will be followed by Cyber Week. Great time to start picking stuff up. So it's a big sale. Then you can see it on the website here, Black Friday sale. So, Tim, what did you pick this week?
So this week, Richard, well, a lot of people have been talking about this, and I think this is right up there with Seinfeld's complete set if you want to give that as a gift. But I would say that this is this era's version of Seinfeld, Schitt's Creek, the complete collection. And I think you've started watching it.
Oh, we love it. We love it.
As well. But it's a Canadian sitcom, which I first didn't pay attention to the fact that it was Canadian until when I really did listen to it. And if you do watch it, they don't make, with American sitcoms, sometimes you can tell obviously they're American. They don't appear to do a lot of the typical we're located here, we're located there sort of stuff. But it takes place in a small town in Ontario. And it's just, if you haven't seen it, this would be a great way to have it and binge watch it, because you get 15 discs in this set. It's for $40.99 going on right now during the Black Friday Cyber Week sale, and they just won just about everything in the primetime Emmys, I believe, just recently. So it's funny, and the outfits and the plot lines. It's essentially a family has lost their wealth, and they had bought this town, Schitt's Creek, as a joke in Ontario. And when they lost everything, they had nowhere to go but this town. So this wealthy, it's kind of the Beverly Hillbillies reversed, right? They show up in this town, and with all of their glitz and glamour that they still had, and try to make a living here in Schitt's Creek. So it's
On so many levels, this is such a great pick. Eugene Levy, who plays the father, his son Dan Levy plays the guy in the the one of the characters who is gay. He's gay in the show. There's so many wonderful things, and it's one. I think your comparison to a Seinfeld or like a Larry David is perfect because each episode's like 22 minutes, and it is full of the kind of back and forth banter that you just can't stop laughing at because the actors do such a great job. And of course, Moira, the mother, she has these costumes, and she invented this like non-existent accent that she does for everything. Anyway, great pick. All right, so I went in an interesting direction. If you are shopping at the Deep Discount website, you can actually you could click on categories, and randomly I just clicked on the LGBTQ category, and up came this film. I had never heard of it before. It's called Cloudburst, and it stars Olympia Dukakis and Brenda Fricker, both Academy Award-winning actresses. It was released in 2013, and that's going to be a tell for you to explain the premise here. So it says, this hilarious road movie co-stars Brenda Fricker and Olympia Dukakis as Dot and Stella, a crackerjack lesbian couple on the run from a nursing home. You'll laugh. So Stella and Dot have been together for 31 years and have faithfully accompanied one another through life's ups and downs. And now in their 70s, Stella is hard of hearing and Dot is legally blind. Dottie's prudish granddaughter decides the best place for Dot is a nursing home that will provide all the necessities. This forces the two women to leave their hometown in Maine and make their way to Canada, where same-sex marriage is legal. It's a last-gasp bid to stay together en route to Canada. They pick up a young hitchhiker apprentice, played by newcomer Ryan Doucette, a small-town boy turned modern dancer. He's returning to Nova Scotia to visit his dying mother. So there's cast of characters along the way. They pick up people and stuff like that. I have never heard of this. Have you? And the other thing that killed me was the fact that it was in 2013 and that we were still having conversations about lifetime couples who had to find weird ways of staying together and protecting their relationship by going to Canada, right?
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't hear about this. Maybe it wasn't. Do you think it was just a very limited release?
Could be. And this is one of those reasons why I love Deep Discount. For $14.40, it's a simple purchase, in my opinion. I think it did very well on the film circuit when it first came out, but again, I have not heard of it, and that's not a bad thing for the movie. It's just there's a lot of media release, but it's a story that I might like to see, and I always have loved Olympia Dukakis. One of my favorite roles for her was Cher's mother in Moonstruck, of course. But so Cloudburst, and of course we have a release this week, a new release. This one, by the way, folks, this would be a John kind of Christmas thing, because I love Monty Python's Flying Circus, and the new release is the complete series 1 through 4 on Blu-ray. Cleaned up. Audio's been cleaned up. Beautiful stuff. Outtakes, extended scenes, deleted scenes. It's the kind of thing if you're a Python fan. Now, Tim, in high school, I was exposed to Monty Python by Bernie Gracie and David Bragg. They were in my English class. I had never heard of this show before, and I think back in the day it used to only be on PBS. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it was on PBS. Well, the BBC, so it went through PBS here in the U.S. And that's funny that's who introduced you to it. I would have thought you would have introduced it to them.
Good point. And they're like, Nash, you got to start watching this. And I started watching it, and it was every other day in school or in English class was, hey, how'd you like the penguin that blows up on the TV, or the Ministry of Funny Walks? And I got sucked in, and I loved it. And then my dad started watching it too, and he loved it. So released this week is Monty Python's Flying Circus Complete Series 1 through 4, and it's all cleaned up, and I say this has got my name on it, and it's only $95.99, so it's under $100.
Wow. So, hey, head over to go to focusgroupradio.com, click on the Deep Discount logo while you're there, and start shopping away. As John mentioned, it's the Black Friday sale, Cyber Week sale. I had picked Schitt's Creek, the complete collection. John picked a movie that we all should watch. That looks like it's
Cloudburst.
also comedy, Cloudburst.
Yep.
And then the new release this week is the Monty Python Flying Circus, a complete series 1 through 4. So thanks again to our friends at Deep Discount. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a shop talk that looks at what are supposedly the most beautiful words in English. So we'll be the judge of that. So stay with us.
You're listening to The Focus Group with Tim and John. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with The Focus Group.
Been in business a week. I got more money than I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Herrera Rocher. He is doing well.
All right, welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is the site where you'll learn everything about us, including how to access and get our Tuesday podcast unbuttoned. And we always invite you guys to send caught your eye things, movie picks, stories, whatever you like, to letters@focusgroupradio.com. We usually reward those who do so. Many people get some socks, right, Tim?
That's right. And if you ordered some pottery from our friend Marge, which we got a couple of notes from people that did, make sure you let us know, and we'll get socks out to you as well from Marge Margulies Pottery.
Beautiful pieces. So as Tim teased before the break, I thought he was going to make fun of me and say this is right up my alley, because this is exactly up my alley. I knew every single word and the definition of every word before.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. And so Tim found this great piece. It's called The Most Beautiful Words in the English Language. If you stop to absorb a stunning sunset or buy fresh flowers every week, you might appreciate the poetry of language. For words that sound as beautiful as their meanings, look no further. So why don't you kick us off with the first word?
So this came from Word Genius, which I get something every day with a new word to learn.
Do you really?
I don't know if
that is very charming. I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So this had popped up, and these were the most beautiful words, supposedly in the English language. I didn't know if I agreed, so I thought I would ask you and the listeners. The first one that they have highlighted is aurora. So it means it's bright, colorful, inspiring, and obviously the aurora borealis, or the other ways that we would use the word. But I thought, is that a word? I wanted to ask you before we go through all these: is there one on here? There's about 8 words, I think, 8 or 10 words. Is there one that's a favorite of yours? You don't have to tell us yet, but. So the first one was aurora. Then when we're done, I want to know if you had a favorite of this list, or is there another one?
No, I do have a favorite one, and it's a funny question. I would personally, aurora, I don't necessarily put that in the category of a beautiful word, although it describes beauty. I don't know that I would call it a beautiful word. The next one is mellifluous. So mellifluous means to have a pleasant musical sound. And I've heard this word before. It's comes up when you're reading quite often. I don't hear it spoken too often. Do you?
No.
Like you would say someone has a mellifluous singing voice, or like you'd be at perhaps a drag show and you might be watching a performer. Oh, she's so mellifluous. I don't think that happens, but
mellifluous. See, I think it's hard to even say.
Mellifluous.
Mellifluous. Could it be mellifluous?
I've always heard it mellifluous, but it could be. Hey, we should have checked this out beforehand.
I'm teasing you.
Nasty.
The next one is Felicity. I don't like it because of that Felicity Hoffman.
You know something? It's so funny you say that, because I associate this with. I always thought this was a proper name, and it means intense happiness. So yeah, it's a great name because a child can bring intense happiness, but it's not a word that I would definitely put in the beautiful category, right?
Beauty category. No.
The next word is lithe. Not all lovely words are long. Lithe is short, sweet, and evokes an image of grace. So something is lithe or beautiful. A statue has a lithe quality, lean, flexible, agile, light of, a nice word. I like it.
Yeah, the next one is scintillating, which everyone knows what that is. I always associated that with kind of not necessarily clever, but I always looked at it as something kind of more scandalous. Oh, it's scintillating, like a scandalous tale or a secret or something. But scintillating is supposedly a beautiful word.
I think your use is correct though, because it's sparkling, skillful, clever. Like so, scintillating is. I like the word, and I have heard, I have heard it spoken a lot, and I've obviously encountered it reading. Our next one, we hear it all the time. Visceral. Someone's had a visceral reaction to something, and that just means it's a very intense, emotional, body type reaction to something. When you say the word, it feels like it comes deep from within your chest. That's what they're saying. It's a visceral. I had a visceral reaction. The coffee was so horrible, I had a visceral reaction. Well, I don't drink coffee. But.
The next one is effervescent, which obviously is bubbly. Someone with a bubbly personality, contagious. Someone has an effervescent personality.
Ferrero Rocher, he is doing well. Bubbles DeVere, just call me. No, Miss. What was her name? Just call me Bubbles.
Call me Mrs. DeVere. Call me Bubbles. Everybody does.
Tim, I don't even want to tell you how old Little Britain is. It feels like yesterday. Gossamer is the next word, and silkiness, light. So it's a gossamer wings. Like could be like when we describe like a dragonfly's wings. They're gossamer like because they're really thin and fragile and beautiful. Pretty word. I like it. Okay.
The next word, halcyon. Which I remember the first time I really heard this. I was listening to, I think it was an Ethel Merman song. She talked about the halcyon days, but and I remember having to look it up, and it refers to peaceful times gone by, so the halcyon days. And it's also one of those words where I think people have trouble pronouncing because of the way it's spelled, Halcyon.
Yeah. The last word on our list today of the most beautiful words in the English language, according to a site, so take it with a grain of salt.
Word genius.
Surreptitious. The beauty of surreptitious comes from its sound, but also its mystery. The word itself is like a whisper. Surreptitious, but it means you're keeping secrets. That person's they're very surreptitious. They're not telling us everything they know.
Surreptitious. Okay.
So, can you guess which is my favorite one? I do have one on the list, and the minute I saw it, I was like, I love that word. Do you have one?
I want to say for you it was. I'm going to boil yours down to two, either gossamer or scintillating. Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love the word halcyon.
That's mine.
That's okay. Oh, see? So great minds think alike. I just think that it's a funny word, right? You actually nailed it. It's the pronunciation, it's the spelling, and then knowing the whole meaning that it refers to peaceful days gone by, right? I really like halcyon. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like halcyon. I always like words in English that have R's in them.
Yes. A
lot of times, though, maybe rugged or trigger. I do like the name Olympia. You mentioned the name Olympia earlier. I used to like that. The Olympia Snow was the senator's name from Maine. I always thought that was a great name.
That's right.
Olympia Snow. I probably told this before, but I used to remember also, and some of these words I thought about it. When I worked with a bunch of my Japanese colleagues, similar to the way people would, and it's not racist or stereotypical, but you would pretend you're speaking Chinese, or you pretend you're speaking Japanese, or you pretend you're speaking a language and you're just saying something. So when they would mimic English, they would just always say ing, ing, ing.
They call it the sibilant S, I think, is inherent in a lot of our words, yeah.
So there's always that in the ing that we use. And there's actually if you go to YouTube, there's actually a site which is interesting to listen to. Talk about getting in the weeds, but it essentially, you think the people are speaking English, but they're not. It's all gibberish, but it sounds exactly like English, but there's no words you can make out.
So here's a story from our youth about Tim's knowledge of language. One day he picks me up at my house. I didn't have a car. Tim had a car, and this is your Orange Vega, by the way. This is the Orange Vega days.
That was long ago.
And we are going to go to either McDonald's or Dairy Queen. We hadn't decided. It was going to be in Watertown or it was going to be in Waterbury. We didn't know how far I wanted to go, but we're driving along, and Tim had ABBA on the 8-track cassette. If you change your mind, take a chance, and then it fades down, ka-chunk, and it comes back. You remember how it would change the tracks? So we're driving along, and I'm watching. Tim always drove standard, and actually he taught me how to drive standard as well. And I'm watching how you're doing the standard, and we're laughing and listening to the music. And I loved. He introduced me to ABBA. So we're driving along, and Tim goes, "They don't know a word of English, by the way. They don't know a word of English." And I said, what are you
They
talking
don't.
about? I said, because everything they do is phonetic. They have all the words are in, they just have sounds they say, and it comes out as English. And he goes, aren't they great? And I've just never forgot the way you described the fact that they don't know English and they did it all phonetically. So there you go.
I suppose they know a little English, but
I suppose they do. Yeah.
but that was the late 70s, early 80s. So we made it up.
What
I
was the
suppose.
car after the Vega? Was it the Scirocco?
That was the Volkswagen Scirocco where we outran the cops.
Don't do that, kids.
Don't do
but
that.
We had fun that day. That was down on Route 8. Down at
We had to be to work. We had to work.
You had to be at
Remember,
Walden's. I had to be at Marshall's. Yeah.
We had to be at Marshall's, and we were leaving the beach. And my father told me, if you get one more ticket, that's it. You're off our insurance. And next thing we know, we were in Easton. They had a big old sloppy Caprice Classics, and we flew by that cop.
And I think
tried
I
to
said
catch
punch it or something because I think,
Yep.
and you, boy, Tim is a
Zipped
very
into
good driver.
Newtown, got
Tim is a
away.
very good driver, by the way. I always say to people, I could say anything I want behind the wheel when I'm in the car. I might yell at people, whatever, but my driving is superb because Tim taught me that you have to drive by the instruments. Know your speed, know the vehicle, know what you're doing, have your mirrors set up properly, know braking and turning. And that all came in when we were outrunning the cop car, and look at how Tim describes it. The old Caprice Classic was like a boat on land, right?
I remember one time, I had to take a lot of driving classes when I worked at Subaru, and I got kicked off the driving. One of the last things I did, they were comparing the Subaru Forester to the Toyota RAV4. And the way this course was set up, that the Subaru won every time. Of course, all the dealers were there. So I get on and I beat the Subaru in the RAV4. But I knew how to work the shift, and like, get the hell out of here, Bennett. You're totally ruining the day.
I beat the Subaru in the RAV4.
I just kept the RAV4 in second gear because I knew you had to downshift, upshift. I kept it in second and beat everybody's time, and nobody could believe it. There's something wrong with the clock.
Yeah, it's not telling time right. Anyway.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. We hope all of you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Make sure that you mask up. And it's only a meal, as John and I have said before. If you don't have to travel for whatever reason, it's probably smart to stay home or stay within your bubble. But we understand that there are some circumstances where you might have to travel. So if you do be safe. Be sure to check us out at focusgroupradio.com. You can find all of our media housed there, along with our podcast, which is TFG Unbuttoned, which is released every Tuesday. Thanks to our friends at Deep Discount. If you go to focusgroupradio.com as well, you can click on their logo there. Start shopping for the holidays. There's a Black Friday Cyber Week sale going on right now. I picked the complete series of Schitt's Creek. John had picked Cloudburst. And the release this week is the Monty Python's Flying Circus complete series 1 through 4. So we hope you all have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.
That was a stunning focus group.